Let's see how we can use the choose rows, and choose columns functions in Google Sheets. We have the Google Sheet, choose rows, and choose columns functions open, and it has the data we require. The first column is the serial number from 1 to 5. The next column is the name column. The last column is the marks. For the serial number, we have used the sequence function, with rows 5, columns 1, start 1, and step 1. Suppose we want to sort the data in descending order of marks. For this we can use the sort function. It sorts rows of range by specified column. And it takes range, sort column, is ascending, optional sort column 2, optional is ascending 2, and so on as arguments. An example is shown, where range is A2 to B26, sort column is 1, is ascending is true, sort column 2 is 2, and is ascending 2 is false. For our case, range is A2 to C6, let's lock this range. Sort column is 3. Is ascending is false or 0. We get the sorted data, with the highest marks 95 first, and the lowest marks 59 last. Now suppose, we want the highest marks row, which is the second row, and the lowest marks row, which is the last row, in the E1 to G6 range. First, we want the title, and highest marks rows. For this, we will use the function CHOOSEROWS, which creates an array of the specified rows. It takes array, and optional row number 1, row number 2, and so on as arguments. An example is shown, where array is A2 to B9, and row number is 2. For our case, array is E1 to G6, let's lock this range. We want the title, and highest marks rows, which are the first and second rows, so we will write 1, 2. We see that, we get the first 2 rows. For the lowest marks, we will use the same CHOOSEROWS function, with the same array E1 to G6, row num will be the last row number, which is 6. We get the lowest marks row. Suppose, we do not want to give 6 as an argument. We want to get the last row number which has some values. We can use the COUNTA function. It counts the number of values in a dataset. It takes value 1, optional value 2, and so on as arguments. An example is shown. For our case, we will use COUNTA, G to G. We see that, it gives the same result as we got previously with row number equal to 6. Now, suppose we don't want the serial number column, but we want the name and marks columns. For this, we will use the CHOOSECOLS function. It creates an array of the specified columns. It takes array, optional column number 1, column number 2, and so on as arguments. An example is shown, where array is A2 to B9, and column number is 2. For our case, array is E1 to G6, let's lock this range. We don't want column number 1, we want column number 2 and 3, so we will write 2, 3. We get the name and marks columns as required. Next, suppose we want only the highest marks. Although max function would be the best to use in such a scenario, we can use the choose function, which returns an element from a list of choices based on index. It takes index, choice 1, optional choice 2, and so on as arguments. An example is shown, where index is 2, choice 1 is A, and choice 2 is B. For our case, let's say index is 1, choice 1 let's say is L2, and choice 2 is L3. We see that we get the first value, which is the highest marks, 95. With this, we have successfully learned how to use the choose rows, and choose columns functions in Google Sheets. Thank you for your time. Please like, share, and subscribe if this video was useful.